4. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure having you on the other side of the radio, like I would always say. Indeed, it's a pleasure. Don't mind the fact that I keep saying it. It is a pleasure having you listen in and, not just listen in, share your opinions via text messages or via phone calls, and I do appreciate it when you do that. All right, remember the frequency is 92.3 Nigerian for the show Hard Facts, and my name Kaladako Rubat. But right about now, I want us to talk about something I do think is important. So I'm going to quickly run through the conversation. It's a lengthy introduction or presentation from my end, and I'm going to do as quickly as possible so you can call in and your opinions on the matter that we are taking a look at right now. So on Sunday, once again, the FCT minister had a media chat. I think I mentioned that already, but a lot of things got my attention, by the way, but I'm going to stick with this one. And this has to do with the judiciary. Now, for a better part of the political crisis that has characterized Rivers State, the conversation has been focused on the judiciary and the divides we have, the two political divides we have in the state. One would say the state high court is a shopping mall. Another would say the federal high court is corrupt and playing, or should I say dancing to the tune of the FCT minister. And I think if I remember vividly, the DSS had picked up or invited, I think invited is the right word, had invited the Obiakpo local government chairman Chijuke Unwo, for questioning based on allegations that he made, saying that the FCT minister has bought the federal high court. And I remember, I think it was on X, and the Obiakpo local government chairman made some comments about it, saying he will not be, he would not be bullied. I think, was it bullied he used? I think he used, it would not be, I'm trying to remember the word he used, but it's not coming to me. But he talked about standing firm in his support for the governor of Rivers State, Sir Simna Live, for by His Excellency. But now let's look at it now from this angle, because on Sunday, after the minister said two judges, he called their names. You listen to the soundbite very shortly. He said that these judges have got questionable character, and it brings me now to the conversation of selection of judges. Now, for many decades, or should I even say, let's just go with decades. Let's go with decades. I don't want to take it as far back as independence, let's say decades, maybe 4 or 5 decades. Nigeria is focused on the executive arm of government and recently the legislative arm of government, but not much focus has been put on the judicial arm of government. And guess what? All three governments are very important in the discharge of governance to the people. And from my observation, one does not necessarily trump the other. As a matter of fact, they are interrelated and they are supposed to check each other, but not necessarily bigger than the other. But as time as as the country grew, we saw that the executive arm of government became more powerful, maybe because of how we play our politics. Maybe we could also allude some of that to military dispensations, the various ones we had. And we got to see how the governor and the president became more powerful, even though one can argue that the Senate president may just be as powerful in a proper democratic situation as the president. If you look at it from the books, maybe you can argue that. However, with the politics being at play, right from the elections, the general elections in 2023, up until now, the judiciary has come under major scrutiny. And I remember that report, was it in 2017 or 2019, that accused the police of being one of the most corrupt government institutions. The judiciary was also top on that list, if you remember vividly. And so I'm thinking, What is the selection process of judicial officers, and how can we, the people, play a part? What has happened to the incorruptible judge? I remember reading that book in school. I don't know if it was in secondary school or if it was, in the university, but I remember reading that book, Incorruptible Judge, and my goodness, I wonder what has happened to the incorruptible judge. I also remember reading Man of the People by Chinua Achebe, and I'm wondering what has happened to such traits, most especially in the judiciary. Because the story, it's an allegation. I can't say yes, Wike spoke the truth. We would have to look at the evidence, to be able to arrive at a conclusion. And we would also need a court or maybe the NJC to speak on that before we can say that the allegations are right. However, the stories are out there. And the story is that one person had siphoned money from the judiciary in the state, and the other person had given judgment based on emotions, and it questioned the character of judges. But guess what? I decided to look at how judges are selected, and it's a very lengthy process. Talk about informing this, informing that. You inform the NJC, you would inform the Judicial Service Commission, you will inform the president or the governor, and then after all of that and some ratification, you not get to the point where you put out notice, you send notices to the Nigerian Bar Association, you send notices to the various courts leadership, you send notices to, and then people are now what's it called now? Oh, my vocabulary is failing me right now. People are now goodness me, I can't remember the word I'm looking for. People are now nominated, and when people are nominated, these names, the people who nominate them will write the characteristics of the personalities, and then when the names are sent to the NJC will look out, for if the person has got a reputable character, if the person has got any dent, any query, most especially questionable character. If the person has been, in the legal profession for a certain number of years, I think about 10 years, those are the things that qualify certain people to reach, the office of a judge. And then I'm wondering, have we really followed due process in selecting these judges in terms of ensuring that their character has got no question mark and their character is one that can enforce justice? Because we have all agreed, we've said it on several occasions, that where there is no justice, there is no peace, and where there is no peace, development cannot thrive. And we're just talking about Anapsara Igbe calling for peace and reconciliation and saying, hey, yes, Wike should listen to the Pandef Reconciliatory Committee. But really, how do we achieve peace, like some of you have asked, if there is no justice? But can we really achieve justice if indeed there are question marks as it relates to the judiciary? And I'm not looking at it just from states judges or federal judges. That will water down the conversation. I'm looking at it from the holistic perspective, and that is, there is a question mark on the judiciary. And I could have called a lawyer, I could have called a legal personality, but I did think that maybe the lawyers would argue based on the defense for their profession, or the lawyers would have argued based on political stands or political beliefs. And so I decided to bring the conversation to you, the people, because government in a democratic setting is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And so you, the people, I want to hear from you. What do you think? How do you think we can reform the judiciary? It's very important a question. Very important a question. Because I'm wondering, if our judicial system was as effective as it should be, maybe a lot of the arguments back and the forth politically envisaged it would have come to an end and would have known what the future entails. But guess what? We are practically using almost half of a political term, or should I say a government term. It's 4 years, every administration, every term. We've used almost half of it to argue politics, to fight politically, and this is where we are. I'll go for a quick break. When I do come back, I ask the question yet again, and I'm looking forward to your answers, really. And I'll play the soundbite as well. It's about 5 minutes long, and I get your thoughts on that. And you and I will talk for development as we already are doing, right? So please do stay tuned. After the commercial break, we will talk some more. And once again, my question: what do you make of Wike's allegations, and how do we get the judiciary to be incorruptible?
The show continues after this break on Nigeria Info.
Hey, that time of the year.
Welcome back, Hard Facts. It's the show, the frequency 92.3 Nigeria Info. The name, Kaladako Rubatibor. My pleasure. So I was talking about the judiciary. Allegations made against the judiciary have become very much, a lot, I should say, enormous. You can help with the adjectives and the adverbs. But I'm being serious right now, because even we, the people, are complicit in what the judiciary may be at whatever stage it is right now. And it's because we, the people that make up the government, have failed to put attention or pay attention to that arm of government. Once again, the government, as we say, if we say, for instance, the Rivers State government, it's not just the executive. It's not just about His Excellency Simnalai Fubara. It's about Milord, the Chief Justice, of the state. It's also about the what do you call it now, Speaker of the House of Assembly. It's about these people, because all of them, and of course their members, the members of the Judicial Council in the state, or is it the judiciary in the state, and the members of the Legislative Assembly in the state, they all make up the government. But we fail to focus on them, and we've rather focused just on the executive arm of government. Maybe that's why the governors, and maybe that's why the president, they're always very powerful. Let's take a listen.
The argument here, Your Excellency, is that you are slowly, not my words now, but the general notion, slowly losing political grip with regards to the PDP in your state.
That is the television you watch. It's not what we're talking about on ground. Let me tell you. I've always said I don't want to talk about judiciary. It's unfortunate you have tried to push me now to talk about state judiciary.
Carry on, Your Excellency.
The Federal High Court gave a nod for the election to take place, which INEC was a party, and directed police to allow the Congress, and they took place. Now let me tell you, it's unfortunate I will say this. Who is this judge that's granting these orders? State High Court judge every day. Who is this judge? I feel so bad. This was a judge I refused that when NGS recommended I will not be sworn in. Why? When the State High Court was locked up by my predecessor, this judge was the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Customary Court of Appeal, Stephen Jumbo. You remember that NGS recommended Justice Desi Okocha to be the Chief Judge of Rivers State. My predecessor refused and appointed the President of Customary Court of Appeal, Justice Agumabo, to be the Chief Judge. And NJC sanctioned him, suspended. How can you do that? Now, during that period, they used this Deputy Chief Registrar, who is now the judge, Stephen Jumbo, siphoned the funds of the judiciary when the judiciary was locked up under lock and key. I came as governor. Justice Desi Okocha became the chief judge, and we saw how monies were being shared. They divided the judges. These judges are loyal. These judges are not loyal. They were paying allowances to these judges, and they are not paying to these judges.
All right, so you had that first part where he said, they were shared, the judges now, were shared amongst political loyalists and non-loyalists, right? So I guess it goes beyond the two judges, but of course his focus was on the two judges. Let's listen a bit further.
And as I said, no, I will not allow this. I'm going to write to NJS who cannot allow this. Justice Desi Okocha pleaded, please, allow, please, just let sometimes you feel so bad. Pleaded, say please, I don't want this mess. when I see people talk, I just look at it. Now, when Dezo Kocha left, just Lomicron became. And I said, my Lord, can we allow this? He said, Your Excellency, I know it's wrong, but you see, let everybody. JSC indicted this judge, Justice Jumbo, of look at the funds of the court. When the court was not in session, who was spending this money? When the court was not for 2 years. Who was authorizing you? There was no chief judge. So who was authorizing you to be spending this amount of money? I wrote to the NJC. I said, no, I just cannot think of. And then they said, you know what happened? This young man went to court. He lost. He went to court of appeal. And then I now left office. What the present chief judge did, they now went back to say the state was not opposing the appeal. And they say, oh, the man has won court of appeal. And then they now went and swore them in. Now what they now do, every political case, they now assign it to him. Then he will be dishing out orders. As far as Wike is on this side, he will dish out orders. Now, that's why he gave an injunction for people not to do Congress. It's on appeal. They went back again and filed this order. Meanwhile, people are fighting in his court. He gave order that should be Congress, which we have gone on appeal. People again came back to him to find that they were the ones who are supposed to be. You know what they did? They did not join. Of course, INEC was not. They did not join INEC. They did also join those who were elected for them to be able to defend themselves. They did not join them. They now said PDP. Now, what they did criminally to align themselves with the legal advice of the party at the national level, who now took the processes without telling the party. And then they now went to the state high court and agreed with the plaintiffs. And they now enter judges. Look, you just laugh. We have been writing the judge. Give us the judgment. No problem. Let us have the proceedings. No problem. You know the final court. There's an appeal court. There's Supreme Court. No problem. Give us. No problem. You do your own part. Every time, every day, you will see one state high court. Look at another one. A matter the Court of Appeal gave that 3 people cannot see to make law appropriation budget. They appeal to Supreme Court. A state high court recently by Justice Aprioku. You said no. 3 people can pass a budget, make law for the state. When the matter the Court of Appeal has given and they have appealed to Supreme Court, Justice Aprioku of the state high court, why did he do so? A building collapsed when I was governor. His brother was the man in charge. Somebody died. And I said she should be dismissed. Yes. Now, for him, we can dismiss his brother who was a civil servant. Therefore, anything that causes Wike is involved, I will do this. How can a judge of the state high court, when the Court of Appeal has given a judgment, which they have appealed to Supreme Court, now sit down to say that the state?
Okay, all right. That's how far we can listen to that. But then again, he's a lawyer. You should not forget that fact. So I guess lawyers will say that is his farm or that is their farm, and he probably knows it better than you and I. But what role do you think you and I can play? Because we need an incorruptible judicial system. that actually stands for the people, that actually is the hope of the common man, that actually is apolitical, because judiciary is not supposed to belong to a political party. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but let's get to hear them. For the next 20 minutes, we'll be listening to your opinions and let's talk. 92.3 is the frequency. Remember, this is Hard Facts. I am Kala Dakoribatibo. The phone number is 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, 0817 923 0007. Remember, it's not about the state of federal high court judges, it's about the judiciary in its entirety. And I'm tempted to ask the question, where is the incorruptible judge? But then it will be me generalizing that all judges or the judicial system in its entirety is corrupt. And I don't think that's an absolute, that's a complete or true statement. So I'm going to ask, what do you think can be done to the judicial system in terms of selection process? How do we ensure that indeed people of questionable characters do not achieve positions as judges? Because it's part of the nomination process. You have to ensure the person is not of questionable character and does not have a dirty past, does not have dirty dealings, is not involved in any fraudulent or corrupt activities, not done anything illegal in his time, and knows the legal profession in and out. So basically, your thoughts I like to hear. I'm going to the phone lines now once again. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. WhatsApp number 0809 03064116. Send me your WhatsApp messages to that number. We're live on Facebook, by the way. Nigerian for PH. We're active on X, Nigerian for PH, and we are active and interactive on X. And Marvelous Lights on Facebook says Wike accused two judges because they refused to, bow for him, you were trying to say? Collins Agumago says Wike is right. Those two judges are corrupt. Fubara is using them to perfect his political deal. And you see, if you can see from the messages that we get and we're receiving on Facebook, it's now clear that the judiciary is now immersed in the mud. But how do we get it clean and incorruptible, so to say? But let's start with Gift calling from Yenagua. Is my first caller. Gift, what is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, Canada. The one that struck me most is the one he said criminally, and I agree with him. You can imagine a situation where a big court, federal high court, that is at par with the lower court, which is the state high court. Then this matter traveled all the way to appeal court. And the appeal court said, 3 man, 4 man, 5 man is phony. They are friends. Then the same state high court again gave a judgment recently as if they are Supreme Court. The only thing that you need to go to is Supreme Court, and they are there already. So how come, if that judge is not corrupt, how come you went ahead to do same thing? Do you remember Tiswale?
So Gift. So you are saying you are alluding, or you are alleging that the judiciary in the state is corrupt. But then my question is more focused on how do we erase, how do we remove, how do we clean the judiciary?
Yes, let me answer now, Kalada.
Yeah, let's focus on that, please.
For the NJC to come heavily, and I know now that of February is the hearing of these consolidated matters, about 4 to 5 of them. After everything, you will see how NJC will come heavily on these judges. They cannot toy with us. That is why from the Wakalada, if you remember, I have been consistent talking about these issues on ground. How can you do that? Who does that? Look at even the one of the PDP. They never put PDP on notice. They connived with the Legal Advisor National, who does not have the power without the national acting chairman and the secretary.
All right, I would have to stop you.
Give this judgment.
Okay.
They have applied.
All right.
The people who the thing affected have applied. You refuse to release it to them.
Gift, I'll stop you here. Thank you. Chima from Rumokuta. Chima, welcome. Your thoughts under 2 minutes,
Hello,
please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Canada.
Yeah, greetings.
You heard the testimony of the FCC minister.
It's an allegation.
Explicitly stated.
It's an allegation.
Now you will understand when somebody with integrity is talking. Did you see how he's analyzing? Very, very simplified that you can understand everything. As people say, if you don't know how to embed the body, you will start from the leg, the digger. Now, even apart from this explanation, a matter that an appeal court has given a judgment about, there is no how in this world a lower court will dangle into that matter. It doesn't happen. They work in pursue. They have something that they use to go and look. How come this matter I have said is in so place? I am abstaining from it for now. Now, look at it now critically. You have given a judgment. They say, give us the judgment so we can proceed. It becomes a problem because you know there is a foul in it. Now, when you are talking about something, you'll be like, why is this thing going like this? Until the original person tells you. Now, you see these two judges, they already have questionable character from what he has said. These people are not supposed to be judges in the real sense, my brother. But now the issue, how are we going to remedy it? I want to make you say something. Already I know that if a matter comes to any judge and he has an affiliation with the matter, he's going to abstain from it. Ordinarily, if it was a direct matter, these judges would have intervened because as the board would have gone and say, I have something with you, you can't look into my matter. That is one.
Right.
And that is one. Then two, the agency is going to punish. They have to have a committee into it. Like, why did you pass kind of judgment? Having known our mode of conduct. So the whole thing now, the oil light on the agency to look into these two judges, the kind of thing they have done. So my brother, what I'm saying about is that the governor of River State has actually told River State judicial aspect.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. I would have to move on to another call. Ida from Inkoro, welcome. Greetings.
Yeah, Kalata, greetings, especially.
Yeah, greetings.
Welcome back, my brother. I miss you.
I'm not bad. Anyways, continue with your thoughts.
My
please.
brother.
Yeah.
The former governor is crying foul. When you favor him, now you do something for somebody, and you're accusing the person because he didn't before that. That guy is giving wrong judgment. It's not judgment is the judgment. The former governor shall allow River State to be. You are enjoying peace in River State. Look at that investors is trooping under like Kubara. Look at that environment. You can walk anytime, midnight, walk to anywhere, nobody will harass you.
Really?
I'm going to please take a boot and leave the market alone. We are enjoying. Investors are trooping in day by day. Governor Singh sent me out for Donald Trump swearing. I went and talk about River State. Thank you.
All right, then let's move on now. George from Buguma. George, welcome. Tell me your thoughts.
Yes, Canada.
Yes, let me say that all that been explained by the former governor was something he has also benefited from. We are in this state. When he was a governor, all judgments that he got favored out of 10, let's assume, are not conceded. I think he merits almost all, if not all. And is he saying that maybe those judges are also having issues that favored him with others? While they are having issues with others, the issue is done favoring him. So that is why they are also giving. So see, that is why we say allow the sleeping dog to lie.
But he if you listen to him, George, he pointed at two judges and said one of them wasn't judge up until he left office, and the second one had a problem with him because he did what he did while he was governor.
Now the judges in Abuja that is giving judgment in his favor, while people are saying landed properties and houses are being bought to them, he has also come on air to clear that if the president is the one doing that and is asking him to implement it, that is
it's for the president, and we should allow him. That he's been sent by the president to do what the president says he should do, and he has done it. My brother, which all Nigerians are saying that this is not something whether coming from the president or from him or from any quarter. It is wrong.
All right.
Buying houses and land.
Judge.
When you now do all those things, and when your matter comes before those judges, what do you see? What will be the outcome?
All right, Judge.
So
I would have to.
Thinking and talking. You should also know that the listeners and those who are following it up, the political movement of the day, is also listening. And
all right, Judge. Thank you. They are listening. I've got to move on. Samuel from Rumu Kalabo, welcome. Samuel, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, Canada. Good evening.
Yeah, greetings. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Let me just say this thing. This thing that this one that the FCC minister is saying, this thing happened 2015. Is it not so? That is what he's saying. And that 2015, he didn't expose this corrupt judges that he's talking about now.
At the time, it wasn't a judge. I think it was a clerk. Was it a clerk? I can't remember. It was a judicial officer, but it wasn't a judge at the time.
Okay, let's say so. He wasn't a judge that time. And he's supposed to expose him. He's supposed to tell the world, this is what this man did. Is it now that this man now is a judge, that say that this matter, this thing now that the PDP rule, the Congress of PDP, the illegal, that because they told them not to do the Congress. Now this man says this election is illegal, and this man should not parade himself as a PDP chairman and the rest of them. And now the FCC minister now was telling us now that this man...
But Samuel, did you listen to his argument? Samuel, he said that in that man's court, in that judge's court, they had deliberated on similar matter that is now before an appellate court, and that similar matter was still entertained by the same court. And he's saying, hey, that smacks of that's what the FCT minister said, not my words, by the way.
So that's what I'm saying. He would have supposed to maybe expose this man. That time he knows that this man is corrupt, all this kind of thing.
All right.
So it's not everything is allegation. He should not be putting himself for this kind of for his capacity on his position.
All right. Thank you very much, Samuel. Moving on, almost time for a commercial. My brother, the incorruptible judge, was in secondary school. Very interesting. Still very is. I think it was first written, or is it published in 1960? Was it 1962, if I remember vividly. But let's come here. You see, the problem of the judiciary is from the Constitution. First of all, our judiciary has become so dependent on the executive, and it's a big problem. A solution, if asked to proffer: one, the Constitution should be amended to strip the president of the power to nominate the CJN, but the nomination and appointment of CJN should be responsibility of the state houses of assembly and not the president. You will see that this will even sharpen our electoral system, or shaping. But let me counter what you've said. All over the world, and by the way, the nomination is not necessarily from the governor or the president. It is from the NJC to the governor, and then the governor appoints, and they're ratified by the legislative assembly. So it's a three-way something. It's not just done by one person. But even at that, it looks like there are loopholes which politicians most especially, take advantage of. But let's comment. This says the appointment of state justices should be the sole responsibility of the NJC. Then the membership of the NJC should be one representative from each state. If we start here, we will make our judiciary independent of the executive. Bright from H.A. Bright, thank you. Let's come here. This one says Nigerian judiciary have earned for themselves the most corrupt set of people, turning white to black. This is also due to the medium of selection, which most times is by man no man, Ezekiel Isaiah. Let's come here. It says it is fast becoming obvious and clear that judiciary is one of the big factors threatening our democracy today. I don't understand why these judges should continue to allow themselves to be used by these desperate politicians to achieve their aims. Too bad. Christian Williams from Igbo HA. And this one says, please, former governor loyalists should take it easy. No human being can ever rule forever. It's only God that ruled forever. Anonymous. All right, Anonymous. Okay, I'm reading another one. And this one says, pot calling kettle black when the person that's carrying it is the master of it. You stayed in office, you did not do promotion, and today you're accusing the current governor. It's a shame. Jaja Maxwell with that one. I wonder how promotion relates to our conversation. I have a commercial coming up, but this one says, greetings KDB. Wike's episode is a testament in favor of some well-meaning River citizens' argument that this fight is a blessing in disguise. The fight is helping us expose the rots going on in the judiciary. KDB, politicians have finished also. Let the tussle continue so they will keep exposing themselves and all they have been doing whilst they were in office. I pity.
Stay with us. Nigeria Info.